Do you know what the birthplace of perfectionism is? Perfectionism is birthed out of shame. And so let's cover what shame is and how it is intertwined with perfectionism, because this will give you a better understanding of what we're dealing with here. So first and foremost, let's cover the shame 1, 2, 3. And a lot of the kind of research on shame is basically covered by Brene Brown, and I've read all of her books and been able to extract what's, most potent of that research and been able to create a Bloom Beyond Perfectionism program that is kind of tailored in and around that to be able to actually, overcome perfectionism, to rip out the perfectionism and be able to encapsulate it, integrate it, and kind of go beyond it so that you can connect with what is underneath. And in order to do so, it's absolutely necessary that we know what shame is, which again is what perfectionism really roots in. So, shame. We all have it, right? Shame is universal, and it's one of the most primitive emotions that we experience. The only people who don't really experience it are those who lack the capacity for empathy and human connection. Also, we're all afraid to talk about shame, right? Sometimes we can feel shame even by just mentioning the word shame. But it's getting easier as more people are talking about it. Also, the less we talk about shame, the more control it has over us. So shame really hates being spoken. Shame is the fear of disconnection, all right? It's a fear that something that you have done or failed to do, an ideal that you've not lived up to, or a goal that you've not accomplished, makes you unworthy of connection. And so you believe that you're not lovable and that you don't belong. That is what shame makes you feel. Shame is really the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that you are flawed and therefore unworthy of love, belonging, and connection, of brightness, bravery, and balance, right? That you just need X, Y, and Z in order to have certain things in your life. Shame also thrives on secrecy, silence, and judgment. And so if you put shame in a Petri dish and you douse it with 3 things, secrecy, silence, and judgment, it will grow exponentially into every corner and crevice of your life. So regardless of where you're feeling shame, right? Regardless of which area it is, it doesn't matter. If you are keeping things secret, you're being silent about it, and you're judging yourself for it, that is what really makes this shame grow. The antidote then to shame is empathy. Okay? If you reach out and you share your shame experience with someone who responds with empathy, what happens then is that shame dissipates. And so that is why it's so crucial to be able to clear the throat chakra, right? To be able to clear that energy center in which really might be blocked because of the shame, and then really just see that when you speak your truth, when you speak what you're shameful about, whether it is that you haven't, for instance, gotten the sales results that you wanted, or you haven't, stepped into your most embodied self yet, or that you don't feel proud about something that you've done in a relationship or something like that, right? It doesn't really matter what it is. You know exactly what you might feel shameful about, right? When you speak that out, when you speak your truth, that shame will dissipate slowly but surely. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, spoken out like my cat Lightbeam is doing right now. It can also be channeled through creation, through expression, through movement, right? And the actual words coming out your mouth about it, that is just, another level of being expressive about the shame. See? Furthermore, shame needs you to also believe that you're alone. So empathy is a hostile environment for shame. So when you are opening yourself up to receive and not just give, you are able to then also kind of not feel so alone about what you're going through and growing through. And here's the thing. Shame is an egocentric, self-involved emotion. It draws your focus inward. And so your only concern then with others when you are feeling shame is to wonder how others are judging you. Isn't that right? My cat light beam saying yes. Shame and empathy are incompatible, right? They're just incompatible. So when feeling shame, your inward focus overrides your ability to think about another person's experience. You become unable then to offer empathy. You're incapable of processing information about other people, about another person, right? Unless that information specifically pertains to their view of you. And so let me give you an example. Just in this moment right now, I could have literally felt ashamed or, guilty or whatever for having my cat scream in the background. But I'm just not letting that happen. I'm simply just observing that kind of thought, and then I am giving it empathy in my mind, being like, it's okay, and being like, there's probably plenty of people out there who've got kids, who've got children, who've got all sorts of noise going on, right? And why should we impose on ourselves that our environment should be so pristine all the time and so freaking quiet? Why? Right? It's being able to just recognize that shame, and oftentimes the shame can be found when you recognize all the shoulds that you're imposing yourself with. And if you feel like you can't meet those shoulds, that is when shame oftentimes grows. Make sense? So you see now how this is kind of how shame works. And how is it then intertwined with perfectionism? Well, where perfectionism exists, shame is always lurking. Shame is always lurking. It might be a little bit of shame. It might be a lot of shame. It might be that you're not even remembering the shame because it's suppressed and repressed. But it is there. And so perfectionism is all about avoiding that shame. And so again, you're doing X, Y, and Z in order to be and feel and have certain things, right? And so you're avoiding all of the shame in order to do so, in order to get somewhere, in order to get across the finish line, right? And so, of course, you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with the actual root cause, which is the shame. Oftentimes, we've felt shameful at one point in the past, probably a long, long, long time ago, right? For being your truth, for standing in your truth, for expressing your truth. And that emotional experience had such an impact that it sinked into your subconscious mind because you convicted yourself that this thing was true about you, right? And then when that sinked into your subconscious, that became what makes it so that you're not either taking action right now, or you're procrastinating, or you're overworking yourself and hustling and grinding and working your ass off. See, so this kind of shame is oftentimes, yes, the birthplace of perfectionism. And perfectionism is all about avoiding this shame. And as we know, right, shame grows. When does it grow? Do you remember? Shame grows when you're secret about it, silent about it, and judgmental about it. So are you that? Are you secret about it? Are you secret about it? Are you silent about it? Are you silent about it? Are you judging yourself for it? Are you judging yourself for it? Now, here's the thing. Perfectionism is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that really fuels a primary thought. If I just look perfect, feel perfect, live perfectly, work perfectly, and do everything perfectly, I can avoid or minimize the painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. And so again, you're then avoiding the actual root cause here. See? So, why do you think that I started Bloom Beyond and I spent over than 3 years creating the Bloom Beyond Perfectionism program? I worked with plenty of high performers with perfectionism and helping them create a life and business of freedom from perfectionism with the power of the subconscious mind, where we together are in and on this journey of rebellion against the conditioning that we've been subject to, and really claiming sovereignty and self-empowerment, where you can really return to the brightness, bravery, and balance within, and being able to express that without, right? You see, what I've recognized and what's made me so freaking passionate about this is because I've recognized that perfectionism hampers blooming, right? It hampers your growth. It hampers your creativity. It hampers your contribution. It hampers connection. It hampers so many different things. You have no idea until you live your life beyond it. And you look back and you're like, wow. I can see now how perfectionism really screwed up a lot of things in my life, or put me off, or really just slowed things down for me. Yeah? And I don't want that for you at all. I wouldn't want that for you in any circumstance, in any area of your life. And so that is why I put so much effort and thought and conviction into the Bloom Beyond Perfectionism program for years. And now I've created the Bloom Beyond Tribe, which is basically an opportunity for you to come into a community where there's also bloomers, which are the paid clients in the Bloom Beyond Perfectionism program. They're there, and you get to be there in a monthly cohort together with them and together with me and the team. And together we are on this mission, being able to create a life and business of freedom from perfectionism with the power of the subconscious mind, dealing with perfectionism and shame at a subconscious level and rewiring your subconscious for what it is that you truly are. You are bright, you are brave, and you are balanced. You have a bright energy about you. You are brave enough to face the shame, right? And you also have the capacity to balance whatever it is that you want. You have the capability, right? The capability to balance. You are balanced. You have the capacity to basically balance your divine masculine, divine feminine, and flow and work at the same time. To take care of yourself and take care of others at the same time. You have the capacity to bloom beyond pushing, proving, and pleasing. Blooming beyond the shame that is keeping you where you are right now. Right? And you can be on whatever journey you'd like. I don't care where you are on your journey. Shame is always lurking around, okay? It's always kind of lurking behind you, wanting to keep you small, wanting to keep you in the safe zone, in a familiar zone, because that is what the subconscious considers to be familiar, safe, secure. But is it? No. I want you. I want to see you shine at your brightest. Step into your bravery and create balance for yourself. For you have a life and business of freedom as well. So, I am inviting you to join the Bloom Beyond Tribe, right? Go to bloombeyond.com/apply. It's a 256 members limit, and we're in monthly cohorts. So get on the wait list today to really overcome perfectionism and being able to acknowledge the shame, and also being able to kind of no longer keep and stay secret about it, to no longer stay silent about it, right? to no longer, just brush it under the rug at all. To no longer judge yourself for it. And to be able to claim your brightness, bravery, and balanced. To claim your brightness, bravery, and balance. So go to bloombeyond.com/apply to apply, and we might see you on the other side. Sending you so much light and love. And as always, stay bright, brave, and balanced.